Welcome back then folks to day 4 of Special Projects Pack number 9, this time for a car which you might have done a bit of a double take on, maybe even a Google search. We know of the NISMO 340R, of course the 270R is iconic as well, but the 340R, not exactly something which we've talked about, and that's because I made it up. This is not a real vehicle, at least there's no similarity to any real vehicle that I know of. I did look up to see if there were some kind of NISMO S15 fully built model, but from what I could see, what I could find, there doesn't seem to be. They've got parts for it, some aero stuff, but I couldn't find any fully built cars like the 270 and the 400. So my idea was, what if there was something in between those two? Something with about 300 to 350 horses. So I ended up building it to 335, and hence I've called it the NISMO 340R. And much like my build for the Mugen RR Civic, this is possibly my favourite build for the ones that I just like to drive purely for the fun of it out of these 10 that I've done. So much like the Civic, not the one which you would probably expect, but this car is really fun. The only thing I'm not a huge fan of, I mean, I like the livery that the player has done, but the player did it so that you can change the colour, which is great. Unless I'm just missing something, I can't find how to actually change the colour myself though. So when you download the livery from them, I can only select it in black. Now, thankfully, that's pretty apropos because, of course, the 270R is black anyway, so it's a nice follow-on, but I was initially hoping to have it in silver or white. So if anyone knows how to change that, of course, let me know. Maybe I'm missing something, but I wasn't able to change that. Now, as far as the build, it's relatively simple. As you'd expect from a 340 horsepower S15, we haven't done too much in terms of crazy upgrades. The weight is lower, the power is a bit higher, and even the point level is pretty nice at 555, kind of has a nice ring to it. So as far as the parts, we've got the sports pads, stage 1 weight. I've left it on the sports hards that it already comes with as far as tyres. For the club sports, we've got the high lift cams, the sports discs, the power restrictor and the ballast. As far as the semi-racing stuff, the semi-racing silencer, the fully customised computer, the racing crank, which of course is a little bit much for a road car, but you know, got to give it a pass sometimes. Sports intercooler, the fully customised manual transmission is the one that I've gone for, as you can see. As far as the diff, of course, fully customised, the semi-racing clutch and flywheel, height adjustable sports suspension. I haven't bothered with the stage 3 weight or the body rigidity. For the racing stuff, we've got the polished ports and the balance tuning, the race air filter, and then as far as the extreme section, we've got the hydraulic handbrake. You can't really have a Silvia without a hydraulic handbrake, it's a drift legend, and of course I've gone for the steering angle adapter to improve that turn-in in corners as well. More so for that side of things rather than drifting, but of course, like I said, it's a Silvia, so it's going to be pretty good for that anyway. I haven't bothered with the connecting rods or the carbon prop. You could go for that if you want to, but this is just what I've done. So of course, once you've slapped the design on and add the build, now it's to go back into the garage and show you the tuning. So, sports hards, of course, are fitted. For the suspension, I've gone for 100mm on ride height, which is fairly low, as tall as it sounds. We've got 1 on anti-roll, because of course you can't change that on this suspension. As far as the compression, I've gone 35-45 for the rebound, 2.10 for the frequency on the springs, just a little bit of camber, half a degree front and rear. You cannot adjust the toe anyway, so thankfully it helps in terms of stability with that little bit on the rear. As far as the diff, I've got 10, 20 and 40, so not too crazy there. As far as the transmission, I've opted for a fairly close ratio of 280 kilometers an hour. I find that's pretty good for this one. It's not exactly like it's a monster anyway, 335 horses, but again, adjust that as you see fit. We've got a little bit of ballast. Obviously, it's a fictional car, so you can make it weigh whatever you want. I wanted it to be believable, though. So lighter, but not by a ridiculous degree. So bang on 1,200 kilos, and I've put that 60 kilos all the way to the back, just to give it a pretty nice split of 53-47. For the ECU and the restrictor, those are untouched. I do have the highest downforce, and of course you will have the aero kit fitted if you download the player's design anyway, so you don't need to worry about putting any wings on. And then over here, of course, you can see all of the other parts, which we've already fitted. So a pretty simple build as far as fictional ones go. And of course, what you want to see is what can it do in action? Well, if we jump out to Deep Forest, a track which I don't tend to feature too many cars on, which is why I featured it here, like I said, this one could well be, in fact I think it probably is my favourite out of the 10 that I've done this time around. I don't think it will be the favourite of everyone, not because it's bad, in fact it's lovely to drive, it's actually one of my favourite recent builds that I've done in terms of just how simple and fun it is. It's not overly quick, but it's not slow. It's not necessarily going to be the quickest thing in terms of lap times, but it certainly isn't the slowest either. You can drift it if you want to, but it's also got excellent handling and you can put down a good lap time. Overall, it's just a really nice balance. Not to toot my own flute, but there you go. I love the way it handles, I love the way it looks. To me, I wanted it to be something that was cool, but also believable. It had to be something which you could actually imagine Nismo doing. And at least to me, I think I've kind of achieved that here, at least for what I wanted from the car. If you do decide to use it, of course I hope you have a ton of fun with it. At the 555 point level, you could easily detune that to 550 for certain events. You could put it up if you want to give it more power, less weight, so it's very versatile, and of course that is helped immeasurably by the fact that it is a fictional car, so it doesn't matter if you change the numbers too much. I would recommend trying what I've done first, see what you think, and then of course you could put your own spin on it. So of course, check out the other special projects which we're doing this week. Absolutely check out the ones which we've already done this week as well, and of course give the player who created the design some love from me. But for now, thanks for watching.